Cool. I have to rewatch it. Sorry.
Ilima, congrats on the win. Straight here in the back.
Thank you. Sorry, I was looking at my Haku. It's so crooked and the thing. Okay, never mind. Okay, sorry.
Congrats on the win.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Tough fight, right? I mean, talk us through it. And was she just as tough as you expected or maybe even tougher?
Yeah, her control was so good on the ground. You know, we were prepared for her foot sweeps and her judo sweeps and everything. And this whole camp, we just prepared for as soon as it hits the ground, I got to scramble. But yeah, when she would take me down, you know, her control was so good. She wasn't giving me any space to even get like underhooks and that thing. So yeah, I honestly thought I lost. I always think that in the fights that go to decision, I'm always like, I lost. You know, I think because I'm so used to finishing that when I don't finish, then I just feel like I lost the fight. So yeah, it was a relief.
I was going to ask you about what you thought about the scoring and stuff, but that opens up another interesting question. I mean, you're so good and you're obviously a superstar in this sport. So, is there any kind of confidence issue that goes on that we don't get to see a side of from you usually?
You know, I think that this is kind of a testament to how the division has grown since I first started out, you know, and so this is a good thing. I always try to spin everything and find the silver lining, and I'm like, you know what? It's harder for me to get the finish at this stage of my career, but that's a good thing because it just shows how deep our division is getting and how high level these girls are getting. Finishes are going to be harder to come by, and so I don't think it's really much of a confidence issue. I think I'm just in a different stage of my career where now I have to be a little bit more tactical, strategic versus, you know, go for the finish and lose position, or, you know, go for the submission and possibly lose the position. So again, I just think it's a testament to how much the flyweight division of Bellator has grown. And
you're right. I mean, there were 8 of you this week. You guys could have had an impromptu Grand Prix this week, you know, just Friday and Saturday from the 8 of you that were here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Uncle Scott, we want to do a freaking Grand Prix. Now that you guys are done with the bantamweight, congrats, Patchy. Let's do it. You know, we haven't done a women's Grand Prix in any division, and I think it just makes sense that the flyweight division is the way to go. And I've been calling for one since like 2019, I think. So yeah, I think that would be super cool. And you're right. Every single flyweight fight this weekend was pretty awesome, too. Like the 2 on the prelims earlier tonight was badass.
So let's talk that through a little bit. If you could talk Scott into that. You know, one of the timelines, the sort of the fairy tale storyline we talked about was, all right, you win, Liz wins, you call her out, maybe you come back here in December, you fight for the title, we'll see what happens. But if they set up a tournament, clearly they're going to want to stick you guys on opposite sides of the bracket, right?
Yeah.
So that extends things for you by, you know, 3 fights.
Yeah.
Would you be down for that if they set that up and said, all right, we'll start it and we'll do it in December. We'll start the tournament and now you've got an extra year and a half or so, 2 years on your career timeline.
Yeah, and you know what? I would be down. I mean, $1 million is pretty sweet. To be honest, like I have been thinking about retirement more seriously because I do want to start a family soon, but $1 million sounds pretty cool. So I can put baby making on hold for that. So yeah, I would definitely extend.
A lot of extra cool baby stuff.
Yeah.
What's the plan then, I guess, for the immediate future? I mean, do you just kick back and wait and see what they want to do? And if a tournament's not going to be in the cards, then see what maybe the timeline is for you and Liz? Yeah,
I think that would be, that's the plan. I like to go home and reassess things, see how my body feels. Like, luckily, I felt really good this camp. I didn't have any injuries. I'm not even joking. Every camp, I normally like pop my knee or something happens. This was the first camp that I was totally injury free. Yeah, I had aches and pains, but nothing crazy. This fight, I came out injury free. So my body feels good. And I'm like, yeah, let's go. So yeah, that would be super cool. Uncle Scott, let's do a Grand Prix. I should have called that out on the mic, but I was staring at Liz, so let's do a Grand Prix.
Take us back to before the decision was announced. You talked all week about this was one last run of the title. At that moment, you don't know if you're going to get your arm raised. We saw you thanking a lot of people, looking for family members. What was going through your mind? And if you didn't have your arm raised, what was the thought process of what was about to happen?
Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, I was looking for my family. I was calling for my mom. This is the first fight that she's got to come see in like 5 years, you know. So I was just calling for her. I saw her and dad sitting cage side. And yeah, I did. In my head, I was like, this could be the last time. My family would kill me, but this could be the last time if I don't get my hand raised. So I think that was even more of a huge relief when I did. But also like dang, I got to keep doing this. All right, I won. I got to keep going. So yeah, that was cool.
And when you did get your arm raised, though, how much of it is a rejuvenation of, right, you're teetering on retirement, then all of a sudden it's like the dream has come true. I'm going to have another chance at this title.
Yeah, and I think, too, like I said, everything feels good. I'm not at freaking Queens Hospital right now, like in the ER. So that was a huge relief, too. I'm really excited to be healthy. So, yeah, I'm motivated right now. I say that now my adrenaline's going. I'm sure when I get back home, I'm going to be like, yeah, break time. But no, I need to stay motivated, especially that the title could very well be next. I need to stay focused and just stick to the plan. Just keep going.
This is fourth time in Hawaii now, but this one, it was just so different because we didn't know what was going to happen if you won or lost. We didn't know if this would be the last time. You've gotten emotional walking to the ring before. What was it like tonight?
It's so hard to not be emotional. It's just crazy. And I'm standing in the back, and they open up the curtain just a little bit, and not like while my opponent's walking out. And I just see my friends, my old high school schoolmates, and they're just like, Ilima! And I'm like, oh my gosh, here it comes, because they were the last people I would have expected to be there, you know, and they're like screaming for me, and I just was so overwhelmed. I'm like, oh my gosh, just feeling the support of everybody was overwhelming. Started crying backstage, and then all the beautiful dancers, like so strong, the fiercest women, just, you know, preparing my way out to battle. And it's hard not to be emotional. I challenge anybody to try and do that walkout and like not cry or not get overwhelmed.
Yeah. And then just second for me, I want to ask you about the fight last night, Liz's fight. Just what was your reaction to it, and were you getting worried at all for her in those second and third rounds when it seemed like it was getting to be pretty tough for her?
Yeah, and it's funny, like, I know Liz so well. We know each other so well, our training habits, everything. So I was like, I feel like I knew exactly what was going on in her head. And it was funny, I was sitting next to her wife the whole fight, and we were like calling out, you know, with each other. We're yelling at Liz, and Braylon's like, Ilima, can you just fucking walk down to the cage and just like start screaming this? I was like, I don't think I can, but you know, so it was, I was getting nervous. I was. And, but in true Liz fashion, she just freakishly like pulls, you know, a choke out, you know, so that's how Liz is. That's her style. And I was very relieved. We were all relieved when she pulled that out. And two, just because like she didn't even have to take that fight. She didn't have to do it. Deanna fat ass missed weight for the third time in Bellator alone. Liz did not have to take that fight, and so she's just a warrior. And so I'm even more relieved that she finished her too. Didn't go to decision or anything. She freaking finished it.
Hey, Ilima, McKay Williams for Can Chronicles Media. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
I feel as though walking into tonight's match, you didn't underestimate Watanabe. You have any words to that?
No, I did not underestimate her at all. I knew that I could win on the feet, but I really wasn't sure about the ground. Because, like, yes, we're both grapplers, but she really doesn't give any space. So we knew that if it did hit the ground, it was kind of a toss-up, what was going to happen. Actually, we went into this fight knowing that whoever was on top on the ground was going to win the battles. She got top on me the whole time, pretty much on ground, but I was able to work up to my feet and just do more damage on the feet at the end. But yeah, did not underestimate her one bit.
Because we had discussed in the pre-fight, you said that you guys had similar grappling styles, wrestling styles, and it was going to make for a long night. It kind of actualized tonight, right?
Yes. It's funny because normally I'm the one that pushes the opponent up against the cage, and this time I had my back on the cage. So that was it. That was one thing that we actually did work on in camp, was me not putting her against the cage, because that's when she loves to throw, is when her back's against the cage. So I was we were very cognizant of that. But yeah, she was strong on the ground, but I think just she didn't do enough with the ground takedowns. I think that's what it came down to. Again, I got to rewatch the fight, but that's what my corners think.
And in terms of difficult matches in your career, regardless of rankings, from when you started till now, what would you rate this match tonight?
This match, I would say that because I felt confident on the feet, I wasn't super scared, or I wasn't nervous about damage. So in terms of difficulty, I think whenever I go against somebody that has really good striking against me, that's when I get nervous, because that's when you take damage, is when somebody's a good striker, So I wasn't ever scared about taking damage from her. I was nervous though of her just holding me down and laying on me for the whole fight. That was what I was scared about, and it going to the judges. But in terms of difficulty, I would say it's up there. I've lost 2 so far. Yeah, I would say this is top 3 difficult fights.
And just one last question. Going into the third round, you appeared to be a little bit fatigued. What was the conversation like in your corner going into the third and final round?
They told me they're it's 1-1. You got to win this fight. You got to go. So yeah, I was okay, I'm going to try to keep it up on the feet. She's going to try to take me down. Let's go. Let's do this. But yeah, my corners, they don't sugarcoat anything. They're you can lose this fight, so fucking go.
Ilima, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ken.